here is Donald Trump playing the hits again. Sometimes the oldies were so great that you can't let go of them. I know you all remember that back in February 28th, back when we were living sort of normal lives, more or less, Donald Trump said that the coronavirus will disappear like a miracle. Just one day will go away. Maybe it would be the warm weather. Who knows? And, maybe that'll be the case, but not before it takes the lives of thousands and tens of thousands of Americans. But he liked it so much the first time. Yesterday at the White House, he tried it again.
Remarks that you feel the worst of the pandemic is behind us. But without a treatment, without a vaccine, the state's now reopening. How can you be so sure?
Well, I think that, like other things, hopefully we're going to come up with a vaccine. You never know about a vaccine, but tremendous progress has been made. Johnson & Johnson and Oxford and lots of good things. You've been hearing the same things as I do. Tremendous progress has been made, we think, on a vaccine. You always have to say think, and then you have to test it, and that takes a period of time. But a lot of movement and a lot of progress has been made on a vaccine. But I think what happens is it's going to go away. This is going to go away. And whether it comes back in a modified form in the fall, we'll be able to handle it. We'll be able to put out spurts. And we're very prepared to handle it. We've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about it, the invisible enemy. It's a bad enemy. It's a very tough enemy, but we've learned a lot. It's in 184 countries, as you hear me say often. It's hard to believe. It's inconceivable. It should have been stopped at the source, which was China. It should have been stopped very much at the source, but it wasn't. And now we have 184 countries going through hell. But I think that a lot of good things are going to happen, and I really believe that fourth quarter is going to be maybe tremendous, and the next year I think has a chance to be really getting close to record setting. We hope so. We hope we can be back where we were. We had the strongest economy anywhere in the world, and I hope we're going to be back there again. Go ahead, please.
I don't think so. How much confidence are people feeling now? Do people feel better? It's just going to go away. I mean, and we have an epidemiologist on the program today, and it won't just go away. We may at one point reach herd immunity. There's only one route to get to herd immunity. And the numbers that we have in New York, let's say New York City, it's possible anywhere from 15 to 20, 25%, probably closer to 15% of people have already been infected. And we know at what cost that came in terms of deaths. And probably illnesses that will cause long-term medical issues. And so it may take another 20,000, 30,000 more deaths to get to close to herd immunity, to get to close. Maybe it'll be 40,000 in New York. And that assumes that we don't have a surge where it spikes, where we overrun capacity. We didn't overrun capacity last time, but who knows what happens in the next peak. But of course, around the country, we're looking closer to 5%. And we have now had at least over 50,000, close to 60,000 deaths that are directly attributable to coronavirus. Peace and Scientific American that made clear that the way that we count flu deaths is algorithmic. So the way that we've been counting coronavirus deaths, without looking at the disparities of year-to-year deaths that are, we're starting to see numbers now. The Times had a piece today where it's, if you compare the month of April or the month of March, let's say, to prior Marches and Aprils, we have this unaccounted for spike in deaths that don't include the coronavirus deaths. And this is happening all over the country and in different countries. It is reasonable to assume that those deaths are a function of coronavirus. There's no other reason why we would have unaccounted for deaths. Now, it could be a function of coronavirus directly. It could also be a function of like people aren't getting treatment because coronavirus has overwhelmed our medical system enough that people can't go in and get treated for other things. That's possible. But in terms of actual counting of coronavirus deaths, where the people die and they are on their birth certificate, coronavirus is at least one of the causes of deaths. If you were to calculate flu deaths annually in that way, the top amount of flu deaths we would have would be somewhere around 16,000. And they would range from about 3,000 to 16,000. But things are extrapolated. So the number of coronavirus deaths relative to the flu, we've done this in 1 month with coronavirus, is it's not even close. It's far more lethal. But Donald Trump, he liked it so well the first time that he said it would just go away. He figured he'd try it again.